It doesn't help when you have guys like Jhonkensy Noel, who you were counting on, take a giant step back. We're going to dive into some of Noel's struggles after a quick word from FanDuel. The NBA Finals are happening right now. Game 2 happened last night. The Thunder with a dominating performance. It's now 1-1 heading back to Indiana. And if you want to bet on Game 3 of the NBA Finals, well, FanDuel's the place to do it. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So we know the news that happened this weekend. Jhonkensy Noel was sent back down to AAA. They recalled Jonathan Rodriguez. We did this last week. I showed you some of the stats, but in case you guys missed it in overtime, these are Jhonkensy Noel's ranks among 307 qualified hitters in Major League Baseball this season. If you haven't seen them, you may want to shield your eyes because these are pretty rough. He ranks 306 out of 307 in batting average. He ranks dead last with a 392 OPS. He ranks 303rd in slugging percentage. His walk-to-strikeout ratio is tied for the absolute worst out of 307 qualified hitters. And I don't even know what F4 is. I texted Bull, and he said it's a decent analytic that gives you a big picture of how a player's performed in the season, and he ranks 301st out of 307. So it's pretty easy to see why the Guardians made that move. My question for you guys is, can he be fixed? Can it be salvaged with the stint in Columbus, or has the league kind of found out what Jhonkensy Noel is?
You don't even need all those numbers. His chase rate is almost 50%. It's
and that's
horrendous.
And that's what I was going to hone in on right there was the walks. He's 300. He's last, dead last, correct?
Walk to strikeout ratio.
Walk to strikeout ratio. He chases pitches he needs to spit on.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing baseball guys when I was 18 years old say the one thing that they look at in young hitters, the one thing is, do you have the ability to recognize strikes and spit on balls that are on the fringes? If you do, and you've got the other skill sets, you're going to make it. You can make it. But if you're chasing pitches on the edges, you are done. And I think it's burned into his DNA. He knows that. Every time he goes to the plate, he tells himself, I'm not going to chase pitches that are low and out.
The scouting report on Noel should be don't ever throw him a fastball.
Why would you? Why would you? And you know what? Don't throw it in the nitro zone. Yeah. Live on the edges and outside, and you're going to strike him out, and you're done.
If he gets 2 strikes, it's almost a 99% chance it's a wrap. Like, you can see it spinning in his head. You could throw him a breaking pitch that's 5 feet off the plate, and he's going to swing. You tell me. I just don't believe you can teach plate discipline. I believe this. It's an innate quality that some people just have a really good eye for understanding. All right, this is what's coming. This is what I'm not going to do, and this is my discipline nature that I'm going to say. Like, look, he can't. He's not a professional hitter.
No.
If you're chasing like that, he's not a professional hitter.
Now he's going to have a hell of a career on the softball circuit.
Yes,
because he has the ability to be Paul Bunyan. He's big. He's strong.
There's you mentioned Oscar Gonzalez earlier. I see a lot of similarities between Oscar Gonzalez.
I do too. A lot of
Noel.
similarities.
And G, to your point, guys can cut down on their strikeout rate. It happens all the time. Young guys, you can cut a 38% strikeout rate to 28, 29% and get it to a manageable figure. I don't see with him ever being a regular everyday player in the major leagues.
I haven't seen any improvement. In fact, I've seen some regression.
Yeah, because the book's out on him.
Yeah, and to your point, don't throw him a fastball. Well, once they figured that out, they stopped throwing him fastballs, and his production and his numbers just fell completely off the list. If he had Carlos Santana's plate discipline, or Jim Thome's plate discipline, somebody like that, now you're talking about a guy that could be Big Papi.
Yeah.
Because he has the physical stature. When he gets into a fastball, he hits him 30 rows up the bleachers.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it's usually a fastball from a bad pitcher who just missed.
Yeah.
And there's not enough of those guys in the major leagues. And now that the book is out on him, if you throw him a fastball, you deserve to get the ball taken out of the yard on you.
Am I missing something? Listen, these averages look... And I know this isn't
baseball today.
I know this isn't the 1990s, early 2000s where guys is hitting 330 or 340. I mean, but guys are in the 180s. He's batting 146.
No. Now, I heard Rick Manning say something the other night that I agreed with and disagreed with at the same time. Rick said, look, he's struggled like this because he's not in the lineup every day. He's got to be in there every day. Well, yeah, but this is like a chicken or the egg thing.
Right.
What comes first? Getting the honor of being an everyday player, or producing and proving that you can be an everyday player? And the reason I would say I agree with that premise. If you're coming up once every 3 days and getting to see hitting, and maybe it's in a pinch hit role, it's really tough for you to do it. But at the same time, what we've seen of him this year, you can't make an argument for this guy playing every day.
The way that they teach hitting now is so different than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. Obviously, because of my son, I'm like in this world now.
First of all, the uppercuts.
Yes. I don't want to put it all on Teacher Man. Like, if you want to do a deep dive on YouTube videos, go to Teacher Man. Aaron Judge's personal hitting coach. This guy has made a lot of money off Aaron Judge by claiming.
He has.
And I remember talking to a Guardians player, I won't say who, at spring training in Arizona last year. Is like, listen, Aaron Judge made Aaron Judge the hitter he is, not this.
Yeah.
But the way that
this guy's getting all the credit.
But the way that you snap.
Yeah,
I see.
Dropping down,
hit the
and
catcher,
you're swinging up.
hit the catcher on the helmet, on the top of the helmet, and snap and twist. And the way that they're teaching hitting now is so different than it was 15, 20 years ago. It is all about launch angle. And what happens is you change how long the barrel is in the strike zone, so you're not going to. High fastballs are really hard to get on top of when you're going like this.
Yeah.
So it just the whole. I'm fascinated by it just because it's the world I'm in right now. I'm like really deep into a lot of this stuff.
Yep.
And
I have been too.
Thankfully, the guys who are coaching my son don't teach that.
Yeah.
There are parts of the concept of Teacher Man that I think are not terrible, but this whole idea of
or when
Jay, it's counterintuitive. It's exactly what we were told not to do.
Yeah.
Don't drop your hands. Don't drop your back shoulder.
Will Clark. I saw a video of Will Clark,
who's one of the greatest
phenomenal
hitter ever. His swing's perfect.
Just railing against the crap that they're teaching today of these are not major. You're not teaching guys how to hit major league pitching. I talked to Eric Davis for the story last year on switch hitting.
Yeah.
And Eric was great. He said Joey Gallo could still be playing today and could have a great career, but these people got to him about you have to hit everything up in this launch angle, and it turned him into this 180 version with 30 home runs, and now he's out of the league.
Even now I watch foot placement. Like now, guys are just putting their foot up in the same position. Guys are not.
Well, they're not even striding.
They're not even striding
that's what he's saying.
more.
It's coming up and coming right back down in the same spot.
I'm like,
well, Jason sent a tape of your boy about a year and change ago.
Yeah.
And now I understand what they were doing. But my first, I don't even think he asked me for my opinion, but I said, wow, his upper half and his core are engaged and very strong. What I would do is I would now teach the lower half.
Yeah.
Power hitters will all tell you. It's just like Roger Clemens with pitching. People don't want to think this because it's counterintuitive. Everybody thinks the game happens here. The game happens here.
Yeah.
right.
And I said, Jay, once he gets his lower half engaged and striding and leaning, and he's going to figure this out and be a monster. And you said they started to incorporate that this year.
Yeah, but like you could see videos of Shohei, Albert Pujols doing the no stride.
Yeah,
like it is.
Bryce Harper.
And we actually went in the lab with the exit velocity and found his no stride and his step stride. The exit velos were the same.
That's stunning to me.
His hitting coach told him, like, listen, I'll teach this to you if you want, and we'll incorporate this, but here's the data that shows you don't have to have it. It's more of a timing mechanism.
Mm-hmm. That's what I use it for.
A power thing. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because and again, it's just the way that they teach hitting differently now. The best hitters in the game, if you can go find all the videos, they don't stride. Mm-hmm. It's just like the heel comes up and the heel's up and the heel's down.
Yeah.
And the exit velos are 108, 109, 110 on these things.
Your arms and chest, it's like I have a golf simulator, and it tells you how fast you're swinging the club. And I use that more for baseball than I do for anything else. And the reason I do that is because I've experimented around to try to get that number to go up, and it measures every single swing. So, and I find that when I muscle up, you know what muscle up is? You're like, okay,
yeah.
I got
That's when I hit it in the creek. When I'm
every time. And in baseball,
It's like,
we played at Gilmore Academy on Saturday. They have 300 feet down the lines. You get there, and your first thought is, I'm getting 2 of these suckers.
Yeah, you look like,
And
that's
now
light.
your mindset changes. And now you start doing all the things that you don't normally do. And inevitably in baseball, I'm sure you remember this from when you were hitting home runs, most of my home runs I ran into. I didn't go up there with the mindset and say, okay, I am hitting one out this time.
You don't feel
I've never
anything?
done that, by the way.
It's almost, I think it's impossible.
It just, you know what? This is a big spot. I'm going to try to take him the other way here, or I got a pitcher that I'm seeing really, really well. I want to barrel it up in the middle of the ball. Next thing you know, you're circling the bases, and you're like, wow, what happened?
It's intoxicating.
The harder you try, the worse you do.
You're just trying to find what you want to do up there, and then when you hit it, it's like I didn't swing hard. I
know.
It just jumped off the barrel. Everything felt great. My legs were, and then you're running around the bases like this is the greatest feeling in the world. I need 5 more of these.
It's a drug.
And then you figure out, no, you can miss it by this much. And as a matter of fact, you struck out 2 times after that.
It's hard, man. It's a very frustrating sport. The one thing I will say, I agree with you wholeheartedly, but you know what? We're not going to bitch it out of baseball.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that, because when you talk to guys that are in the sport, they all are saying the same thing. They're like, it's just like a couple of years ago when strikeouts became in vogue.
Well,
you're like, oh, that's okay. Strike out, no problem.
Explain this to me though, because I always go back and I keep looking at we've seen the montage of everybody on the Cleveland Indians batting over 300 down the lineup, and they're like, oh, coming up is Omar Vizquel, and he was the weakest hitter. How are you getting guys like Griffey who are batting 335?
Look at Judge.
335.
Judge is going to make a run at
Judge is
400.
hitting 400.
He is going to make a run at 400 this year.
That's wild.
I think he's down to like 380, 390, but still. Yeah.
He's in the ballpark.
Yeah, he is.
He's in the conversation. People are talking. Could you imagine? It'd be the greatest season of all time if he hit 60 home runs and hit 400. Like, you're literally talking about, there it is.
Yeah.
That is the holy grail. Because guys have hit 400 and guys have hit 60 home runs.
It might still 50 bases.
This guy is one of one. And I get angry too when I see his videos. I'm like, bro, show us your other 100 clients that aren't Aaron Judge. Because you've got them.
Who aren't 6'6", 240. Running around in the outfield.
You know, the other thing, too, that I've said about Judge for a while now, and I've repeated this to some other guys that study pitching and that really follow this closely. One of the reasons that Aaron Judge is having so much success, as a pitcher, you know where the top of the strike zone is. And if you've got the stuff, you can live there, and you can never get hurt. Think about this, Jay. When they take the shot of Aaron Judge standing on first base, you have 6'5" Sandy Alomar in the background, and you have Carlos Santana, who's not a small human being, standing next to him. They look like children.
I know.
They look like children. And the reason I bring that up is, as a pitcher, yes, you look at the hitter, but mostly you're pitching to the catcher's glove and what you know the zone to be. And what is out of the zone high to most hitters is an absolutely handleable fastball to Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
He can get that. When you want to go up to Aaron Judge, you better throw it like you're trying to hit the top of Shaq's head. Because this dude is just...
Let her high. He's really let her high.
No, let her high to everybody else is right at his waist. And he's going to punish it.
You said his average has gone down a bit. He's actually hitting 396. So
he did dip, and they must have had a hot weekend.
Yeah.
I didn't look at what he did this weekend.
He homered yesterday against
the
Sox.
Guys, I'll say it again.
23 homers.
Nobody else is
RBIs.
winning the
How many
MVPs for
homers?
years.
He's got 23 second.
So he is on pace to hit 460.
Yep.
And then you can bookmark that. That'll be the greatest single season in the history of Major League Baseball.
It's